What is going on, everyone? It is Foul Play here. I'm back again for another Modern League, back on Bant again, and I've actually made a couple of changes to the deck. So first of all, I've actually cut 2 Windswept Teeth for 2 City of Brass. I sort of feel like we're fetching a little bit too much. I don't know if that's just me being a little bit like precarious and stuff and just hating, like automatically losing to hate bear decks. But yeah, City of Brass, that and like it stops us from getting color screwed as much as well, which is a pretty nice feature. So yeah, it should be a little bit easier against Legion Arbiter decks as well, you know, make things a bit nicer that way. Now, outside of this, what else have I done? I have also removed the main deck Path to Exiles. I've sort of got the feeling a little bit like I'm running too many non-creature spells in the deck. There's been like some awkward hands I've been losing, where I'm just not able to attack and get the damage through with Curious Obsession. Curious Obsession and like Rancor have pretty bad synergy. I'm kind of getting close to cutting Rancor again. I'm not entirely certain, but it's something to like keep in mind there. Still pretty impressed with, you know, Daybreak Coronet, Staggering Insight, the rest of everything that's going on there. Possibly also considering putting in the 3rd Invisible Stalker as well, so that's something to keep in mind. Mostly because against, like, hate bear decks, I sat down and had to think about it, because I keep losing to them when I'm on Bant, but I actually had a reasonable win percentage on green-white. Difference being is, like, I have more copies of Invisible Stalker on blue-white on Azura's, and obviously Invisible Stalker is unblockable that they can't target. Like, if I put down an Aqueous Form or an Arcane Flight, they can just get rid of it. But, like, on Invisible Stalker, they can only hit the other effects. So, I think sort of Invisible Stalker is your best way to win that particular matchup. Sideboard wise, I've changed up a lot as well, and sorry for the chat box over there. So now I've decided delay wasn't really where we wanted to be. I was sort of looking for something that could interact with creatures, but I think that was just, excuse me, a little bit like too cute, you know. I think we're better off going for Stubborn Denial against those unfair combo decks, as opposed to trying to compete with Amulet Titan. We're not really a control deck that wants to hold up mana and counter creatures. It's not what we're doing. Surgical Extraction still in here for those Uro matchups, and Pithing Needle in here. For, I guess, Heliod Company type decks, it can have other applications as well. We've got the Path to Exiles, we've got the Torpor Orbs, we've got the Tail's End, Lurus, Force of Vigor, etc. So this looks pretty good to me. I'm pretty excited. I'm going to use this and jump into a league. See you soon. Okay, so here we are for match number 1, everyone. We won the die roll. We're going to play against TDW Monto. And we'll go ahead and select our companion here. And hand's got no land in it, so we're going to have to mulligan. Sand looks pretty good. It's sort of a toss-up as to whether or not to ditch the planes or the Force Negation. Normally, like, Force Negation's not as good if you mulligan, but, like, the planes can't cast any auras. Flip side is, it's possible we draw a white aura after we attack with the Curious Obsession, and we can sort of like load up afterwards. But overall, I think it's probably just better to ditch the planes here. I guess it might be a little bit bad if we're up against a Blood Moon deck and we've got rid of our only only, what do you call it? Only basic in hand, but you know, we've got 2 basics in the deck, so like 1 would be on the bottom. All right, so this is Oblivion Sour. Okay, well, is this like a Dice Factory or something? They wouldn't be running this card, would they? Whenever you cast a spell, target opponent exiles the top 4 cards of their library, then you may put any number of land cards that player owned from exile into the battlefield under your control. Chalice on 1. Well, we can't have that, so we're just gonna force negation this. Big upside to being in blue. We're probably gonna need the aqueous form to try and push damage through. So, if my opponent resolves a Thought Not Seer or something, obviously that's got 4 power. We need to be able to evade it. Old turn 1 Chalice, no go here. Alright, so it looks like my opponent's skipping through his turn onto us. We do draw a land. It's not really the land we're looking for. So we're going to lead on Curious Obsession, see if we can find a blue land. Maybe we find like an Ethereal Armor or something off the top as well. One of Horizon Canopy in the deck. Rip. Alright, so in there for some damage. What are we drawing for the second main here? Okay, well that's good. At least we've established first strike now. That's pretty strong. Losing Aqueous Form isn't great. If my opponent is to Thought Not Seer here, I'm in a pretty weak spot because if I attack, I lose Hyena Umbra. If I don't attack, I lose Curious Obsession. So I'd much prefer if he went for a 4 mana thing. There's the Thought Not Seer. It's going to take our unblockable card. We're going to need a top deck and aura here, or we're going to start losing value on our board. Opponent down to 1 card in hand. Ooh. Expedition map means they probably have Blast Zone and they can start looking to tutor for it next turn. Usually these Eldrazi Tron decks run 2 copies of Blast Zone actually. We fortunately top deck the Rancor. We've got the combination of First Strike on board as well, so that's going to be strong enough to get us the damage on them, get us the card draw. Maybe we can ramp something else out from that card draw. Another Rancor. Well, we might as well play that now before it potentially gets taken away. We're still yet to see any sort of life gain, unfortunately. My opponent wants to set up for Blast Zone. It's going to be a 2-turn setup. They're going to take a fair bit of momentum out of their own turn if they're not playing creatures. Alright, they are actually cracking the Expedition map here. And they do get the Blast Zone. Alright, so everything pretty much predicted at this point. Into 2 mana, they play a Mind Stone, 1 card left in hand. Okay. Alright, so opponent does actually attack us here. Yep, and we're going to be able to attack right on back. Put our opponent all the way down to 8. And we have the option to put Lurrus in hand. We will take 3 damage and go to 8 ourselves, which means we will be dead to a Reality Smasher if we do that. I'm not sure if we want to do that. I might just get the basic here, and then... because my opponent's play is to blow up things with Blast Zone next turn, so... I guess we're sort of in a position where we do need to have Lurrus in hand. Or we need to draw a 2 CMC aura that gains us life. Let's go ahead and put Lurrus in hand. Alright, so hopefully no top deck Thought Knots here, although they would expend a large amount of mana doing that and wouldn't be able to active Blast Zone. This this heavy pain land, heavy 5-colored land land base is pretty painful when you don't see a life gain aura. If I had either Staggering Insight or Daybreak Coronet, I'd be fine. Alright, so opponent plays out the mine there. They still have 1 card in hand. They are cycling the Mind Stone there. Gonna be interesting to see if he attacks or looks to trade with my creature or block my creature and kill it. Alright, looks like he is opting for the whole block line. Find another Hyena Umbra. Well, that's not too bad. So let's go ahead and attack. We'll force the issue now. We'll get our Lurrus on the board. We'll give our Lurrus life link with the Hyena Umbra in the graveyard. And we'll have 2 Rancors reset to our hand as well. Alright, so there's the blocks. There's the Blast Zone, Bogle to the bin, and now we just transition over to Lurrus. Hope he hasn't drawn some sort of removal spell for the Lurrus. And yep, fairly painful stuff here so far. Alright. So we're all the way down to 5, but we do have a 4 power first striking lifelinker. It does die to Spatial Contortion though, if my opponent's got that in hand. They play a Waste for turn. 2 cards in hand. Chalice on 1 would be pretty good. That'd shut down a large portion of what I can do. Oh, they have the Dismember. Well, we're just fucked now. That's annoying. 2 turns ago, he had 0 cards in hand, and then he just draws into Dismember, which interrupts our line. Alright, well, you know, fun times. Alright, so we're against Eldrazi Tron. So Force of Vigors for Chalice. I'm not sure how much we want our Stubborn Denials or Force of Negations. I think they're okay because they have Khan, the Great Creator, and they also have Chalice of the Void. All is Dust, all that stuff's pretty good against us. We definitely want the Tail's End here. And Pithing Needle is actually also reasonable. So cards that are weak here. We probably want to keep in all our 2 CMC auras. Maybe we can trim on some 1 CMC auras. So something like Aqueous Form, which doesn't add a stat, can probably hit the high road. I'm not hugely sold on these Rancors actually. But they are green cards that pitch to Force of Vigor, pardon me. So maybe that's something to consider. We still have to remove 5 cards from our library. Pithing Needle does just do Tail End's job just that little bit better. I guess Tail's End can counter a legendary spell, and is All is Dust legendary? I'm just gonna check that real quick. It can also, you know, counter Planeswalkers. So it's a tribal sorcery Eldrazi. I don't think a tribal sorcerer is going to be legendary. Problem is we've got like a little bit of an abundance here. Alright, so Stubborn Denial could be bad because if I'm trying to counter a Khan, it pitches to Chalice, so that's pretty bad. Like I can't cast this to Chalice where I can cast Force through the Chalice. We might actually want to go down on Force of Negation, like 1 or 2 copies. Maybe I'll remove at least 1. Maybe we can look at removing a land as well. I'll just remove a Windswept Heath as well. Yeah, no, Windswept Heath is fine. Alright, we'll see what we can do with this one. We did get close in the first game, just Blast Zone is just freaking ridiculously strong, you know. And then top deck into Dismember. Well, we've had like great hands with no lands for our 7s both games here now. Alright, well this hand is definitely good. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to bottom a land. So we'll bottom 1 Mana Confluence. We can actually destroy Chalice the Void here, which is pretty nice. I should have bottomed a Mana Confluence there, sorry. I'm going to take unnecessary damage now as a result of that. But with the Gemstone Caverns 2 games in a row as well. That's really frustrating. If it just goes like Chalice on 1 here, it's okay, because we can get Staggering Insight, get the attack in, and then we can attack the Chalice in the following turn. Mindstone is pretty lackluster, I'll take it. Expedition map, okay. Man, feels like I'm versing Affinity at the moment, that's crazy. I think we want to change plans and I don't know. Let's get the card draw first off. I don't know. Maybe it's right to change plans and attack for 4 there. If my opponent Thought Knots his next turn, it takes away my Arcane Flight. I'm not going to be able to attack, which is going to be a bit painful. But I'm not sure we're going to win the game without having Staggering Insight on the board anyway. So, well, Curious Obsession's a good draw. We still don't have access to First Strike though. That's the main reason why I think the blue auras are going to be better placed here than the Rancors, because they have better synergy with your Curious Obsession. Rancor's like way better with First Strike, so your Ethereal Armor, your Hyena Umbra, your Cartouche of Solidarity. Opponent plays land and just passes to us. Wow, okay. I'll take that. That seems okay for us, right? So do we want to empty out all our auras and attack, or can we play this more patiently? Opponent 3 cards in hand. He's got access to 4 mana on the field. He can sack this end step. I don't think there's much else he can do. He might have make a 1/1 token with that spell. I think we're okay just unloading everything we've got. All these auras that are dealing, you know, damage to ourselves from us casting them, we're gonna get it all back when we attack here. Probably like the largest concern actually is my opponent playing all his dust. 2, 3, 4. He's 1 mana short of doing that if he plays an Eldrazi Temple though, so I think we're okay just ignoring that whole line. It's likely we're battling against the Blast Zone here this game. Might get lucky and our opponent casts something before they play their land and active the Expedition map, and then we'll be able to destroy the map and the Mindstone all in the same go. Drawing Force is decent there because it's something to pitch to Drawing Scout there is okay because it pitches to force. Opponent does get the Blast Zone. Alright, so if we attack the Mind Stone here, he can just active the Blast Zone. If not, we might get Expedition Map value. He sort of has to go for the Blast Zone this turn here. We don't have Totem Armor this time. We do actually have the other Hexproof creature in hand to load back up onto, though. Is he going for something that isn't active Blast Zone? Okay, he's just doing the active. Yep. Well, Rancor definitely showing its strength there, coming straight back to hand through that Blast Zone activation. 4 cards in hand, he's got nothing else. We draw a crappy old Rancor, man. Alright, well let's go ahead and play this one. We'll shock in, or active this one to hand. We'll shock in the Scout, and pass the turn to our opponent, see what they have. They might have a Chalice on 1, in which case we can force for 2/1 value. And then we can look to Lurrus, maybe get back our flying, Rancor attack. Khan the Great Creator, okay. See what that fetches out. We will be able to kill this, or just ignore it and attack him. Alright, opponent goes for the neg activation, which is, I suppose, pretty well to be expected there. What card's he searching out, though? That's the big question. Is he going for the whole Sundering Titan route? Talking is difficult. Fortunately, our land base is pretty... plays around Sundering Titan pretty nicely. We still get to keep 2 lands after an active from it, or an ETB from it. Yeah. Alright, so opponent does decide to get the Ensnaring Bridge into hand there. So this Force of Vigor is going to be pretty spicy when it comes on down. We might as well like take the turn to kill the Khan, I'd say. We find the Flooded Strand as well. I think it's fine fetching the basic with the Flooded Strand, getting that value. I'm just going to kill the Khan first up, and then probably play the Arcane Flight out post-combat. The Arcane Flight's going to be the most important ability, having the flying, having the evasion. And that's just going to go straight onto our Glade Cover Scout here. So our life total's gone down to 12, which... Oh, sorry, 14, sorry. Which is still quite low against an Eldrazi deck like this. We'll see how much he can accomplish this turn if he sinks 3 mana into an Ensnaring Bridge. Fortunately, yeah, Force of Vigor just very well placed against that card. If opponent plays another Temple, he could Thought-Knot Seer into Ensnaring Bridge, which would be frustrating for us. Alright, so he just plays the bridge there. It's the same printing, so we can clear that one. And there's the Eldrazi Temple. Oh man, is there gonna be the post-combat Thought-Knots here? Okay, Reality Smasher. Alright, well that's not gonna counter our Force of Vigor on Mindstone and Bridge, so we're just gonna let him attack for 5. That's fine. We'll get us Staggering Insight out. Oh, he's not gonna attack? Really? Oh, can't attack. Ensnaring Bridge, right. Well, let's go ahead and get rid of these 2, and yep, bam. Bam. Seemed so safe, but then the Rancor came into play, right? Force Negation, that's an interesting draw. Okay. So Staggering Insight on Scout. For the card draw, for the lifelink. Lurrus is just going to have to sit back here and just generate value. Slowly, we can hardcast Force Negation. Maybe we can draw something else to buff it up that little bit more. Cast it for free if we need to. I don't know. See what we draw. Alright, well, we're not going to be short of mana. I'll tell you that much. Scavenger Grounds, okay. Well, that can actually, that's pretty good against us. That can get rid of our Curious Obsession and Bogle from the graveyard so we can no longer lure us them back. You'd have to assume that's the card drawn for 10. It's a big Walking Ballista by the looks of things. 7 mana. Oh, is this all his dust? Oh, man. Oh, hell, man. Yes, let's freaking go. Oh, my God. It feels so good. The fuck out of here, man. Ain't got time for that. Opponent concedes. Oh, yeah. Alright, well, that all lined up surprisingly nicely then. Probably Force Negation is just too good to do without. And, minusing on the land worked out relatively well for us as well. I'm still not sure how much I love these Rancors. Arcane Flight, Aqueous Form seem sort of reasonable. Is Invisible Stalker potentially just a little bit too slow? Maybe we can -1. I'm just going to just change display quickly so I can get a proper play with everything that's going on. Pluses to like playing Stalker on creature mode is if my opponent chalices, we can Invisible Stalker as a chump blocker potentially, which isn't completely terrible. I think maybe it's something like that. I think we want the Pithing Needle as the tail end. Blast Zone is just like really strong. If our opponent didn't have the Blast Zone there, we would have been in a much better spot. If we had the answer to the Blast Zone, we would have won that game several turns earlier. We do have the Hyena Umbras. Having something extra could be nice. Pithing Needle has the pro of being 1 CMC, but that's also a con if they resolve Chalice. Maybe I can leave in the Rancor for an extra Chalice fodder, remove these Pithing Needles. We got Tail End, Hyena Umbra, and that's 5 answers to a Blast Zone. Pithing Needle is like very effective in the way that it does actually counter multiple Blast Zones though. I think I'm gonna remove these 4. Alright, so lure us out as the companion. This hand's got not very much going on. We need to mull this, look for something more exciting. Alright, well this is certainly more exciting. Just pitch the Glade Cover Scout and then we can keep everything else. So the spicy Bant hand we're looking for. Our opponent has actually mulliganed to 5 as well. So if Chalice is good, it's going to be very good. Sorry, Force is good, it's going to be very good. Force answering the Chalice, that is. So they have kept 5 and we're getting into it. Turn 1 Eldrazi Temple, not bad. Could mean a turn 2 Thought-Knots there, which would be a little bit frustrating for us. We do find the Horizon Canopy. That's a pretty good find. That means we can cast double Aura next turn as long as one's not stripped from our hand. If he's going to strip an Aura, it's going to be the Rancor because the Curious Obsession will fall off if I can't attack into the Thought-Knots here. So hopefully he goes for like a non-creature spell here, like Chalice on 1. And we can force it, we can play our auras, and then we can go off. Alright, well there's the Chalice. Force, pitching Force. Now it's the race. The race has begun. Draw another hexproof creature. Okay, well. Go ahead and lead on this Curious Obsession. Get these attacks and draw a card. Still not out of the woods though, because like just a big chump blocker, we can't attack into it right now. Not without first strike, not without flying. Thought-Knots here would be a pretty big problem here. Alright, that's exactly what he's going for. So we have to hope the top of our library is kind to us at the moment. Yeah, well that's very, very kind. Let's go ahead and jam that one like there's no tomorrow. Holy moly, what a clutch draw. Get that attack for 7. Keep a hold of our Curious Obsession. All that good stuff. Now what I'm scared of is like Blast Zone. Our opponent's still a little ways off of doing all his dust, but Blast Zone would be a big, big issue for us. That'd set us very far behind. We find the Arcane Flight. Well, it's lethal next turn. But we lose out real hard if he Blast Zones. I think we just make them have it. There's only 2 copies of Blast Zone in the deck where there's still another 3 Thought-Knots airs. That 9 power in the air. Ah, damn it, he's got Blast Zone in hand. Frickin' rip. Well, if our opponent waits for our draw step, we could draw Tails End and we can blow him out with the combat trick. The response. Alright, that's not going to happen. We do draw the Daybreak Coroner. It's going to be good to reload with and attack with. But here's the active. Blast Zone OP. And slow rolling that other scout. Suppose paid off to an extent. And we might as well run out the Rancor here so that we can Daybreak next turn. Guarantee our Daybreak next turn. As long as we get to untap with it in hand. Opponent plays Field of the Dead. Are you kidding me, man? This deck plays Field of the Dead as well. This card has just gone way too far. Opponent tapping 3 mana for a Chalice on 1. Oh, buddy. Oh, that is not the Chalice you're looking for. Alright, that's good news for us. So, we're going to take 4, go to 5. We're going to take another 2 to play the Coronet. And we're going to go all the way back up. Oh, man. Run a Coronets. Not bad. We've drawn our cards in pretty good order this game. 1 card left in hand for our opponent. The old turn 5 Chalice is not the Chalice that the opponent was looking for. Oh, Reality Smasher. And my opponent can't even attack here. He net loses life. Oh, we net gain life if he attacks, and then we can just kill on crackback. We do play the other Coronet. We go up to 9 power, and he has to block with at least one of his creatures. Alright, run a Coronets, and that's going to be pretty good against that Chalice. Our life will go all the way back up to 16 as well. And this is got to be the double block here. Then my opponent's got to top deck something like All Is Dust. We do get the card draw there. I did forget about that part. We can't play the Bogle. It will get countered to Chalice. So just play out our land and pass it. Alright. What tricks you got left in your sleeve, opponent? I'm guessing it's not Blast Zone, or else that would just be jammed down and actived. Opponent concedes. Alright, we take down Eldrazi Tron. That is a good scalp.